Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great because do you guys remember about a year or so ago, there was a certain indie development studio that got itself into some controversy on Twitter because they decided the best way to advertise their game would be to console war and talk about how only the PS5's SSD would be capable of running the game and that the Series S was far too weak, and then the game came out and it turned out to be an Unreal Engine asset flip. In case you still don't know what I'm talking about, maybe the name of the game will refresh your memory. The game was called Quantum Error, which is a very fitting name because those devs made so many errors when making that game and advertising it that only quantum mechanics could explain it. And like I said, they are now back with a new game called Code Violet, which looks like it's going to be another Unreal Engine asset flip. Now, dear viewer, we're going to play a little game. Not Code Violet, don't worry. Given the disaster that ensued for these devs last time they tried to console war to advertise their game on Twitter, what do you think happened this time around? Did they A, learn from their mistakes, B, repeat exactly what they did last year, or C, manage to say something even dumber and worse than last year? If you picked C, then congratulations, you win. What do you win? I don't know. I have some Skittles here. You know what? You want some? Here. But yeah, they got worse. They got much, much worse. Let's take a look at what they said on Twitter, shall we? For those asking us about a PC version of Code Violet, the reason we are not bringing it to PC is we do not want anyone modding vulgar versions of the main character as well as other characters in the game. We hold our voice actresses and actors with high regard, as well as our artistic vision for the game and story, and reject any form of destroying that with sexual mods. Making a joke out of our art and possibly tarnishing the reputation of our voice actresses and actors is not worth the extra money we can make.
You serious?
Now listen, I feel like I have to clarify this. I understand, it is their game. They have the right to do whatever they want with it. If they don't want to publish their game on PC because they're afraid of modders, that is up to them. However, that is also incredibly stupid. Imagine just lumping in and generalizing all PC gamers as modders who want to ruin the artistic vision of your game. That's right, guys, because like 1% of PC gamers use mods, and even less than that put all these sexual mods in games, that means they're just not even gonna bother selling the game on PC whatsoever because artistic vision. Like, just have the balls to come out and admit that your games sell like nothing at all on PC, so that's why you're skipping the platform. At least that would make sense. But nope, you're gonna act all morally superior about it and say that you don't want your artistic vision to be ruined. Guess what? When people buy your product, they can do whatever the hell they want with it, because once they buy that copy of it, it is theirs. Like, imagine if Microsoft decided to stop selling Minecraft merch because there's probably some freaks out there who would like carve a hole in the bottom of them and go to town on them. Or better yet, what about this thing? I mean, this is supposed to be like a stress ball, like kind of rubbery ring thing. I don't know, but god damn, that's just giving me some ideas. Let me just say that. But yeah, if you don't want your work to be sexualized, you probably just shouldn't release it to the internet at all. Because guess what? PC gamers are not the only ones out there who will do stuff like that. Have you ever heard of Rule 34? It doesn't matter what platform a game is released on, there is going to be freaky stuff made about it. Like, Mario is only on the Switch, for example, but that doesn't stop people from going absolutely bonkers. Like, you should just not release your stuff at all if you're afraid of this. Also, just look at this one still from the trailer. You're afraid of PC gamers sexualizing the character in your game? I think your character designer already did that. I mean, I say character designer, but this was probably bought off the Unreal Engine store as well, so who am I kidding? I mean, at this point, you might as well just cancel the PS5 port as well, because I know some very talented people who play on console. They will draw art of that main character that you cannot even conceive of. But hold on, it gets even worse. worse. Because as somebody pointed out in the replies, the trailer says it was captured on PC. And then the devs reply, all games are created on PC or Mac. And then the original guy replies, it's kind of dishonest to put in your advertisement that this is footage from the PC version, then not release it on PC. And then they reply, a PC is a tool to make a video game. Yes, you make games on a PC, no duh. But you can capture the footage for a trailer on a console. That is what Sony does with pretty much all of their new releases, unless it's coming to PC day and date. Like, look at this God of War Ragnarok trailer, captured on PS5. I feel like capturing the footage on PC and then not releasing it on PC has to be some kind of false advertising, right? Maybe? I don't know. Do we have any lawyers in the comments? Probably not, but whatever. Now, obviously, as you saw from the screenshot earlier, they are getting absolutely ratioed to hell and back. But of course, there are gonna be a few people out there who still defend them and agree with this decision. And now we're gonna go ahead and take a look at that. First off, Tripster says, good on you, that's actually a good call.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
Like I said before, if they weren't putting the game on PC because it didn't sell any copies, that's one thing. But not selling the game on PC because they're afraid of mods is just completely ridiculous. You have literally hundreds of millions of potential customers on PC, most of whom will play games in their original form as the devs intended. But because a couple might not, you're gonna sacrifice all those sales. And you agree with them and think that's a good idea. Please, God, let one of these guys try to run a company for a day. I guarantee it will go bankrupt. This is like if I stopped commissioning art of my character because one guy might commission somebody else to make a very sexual version of it. Not only does this make these people look incredibly soft, but this only damages the reputation of the game, except for in the eyes of a couple people like yourself. But hey, I guess the only way they're gonna sell any copies of the game is if they console war, so, I mean, what am I saying? If it works, it works, but something tells me this will not end up working out for them. Then again, these games probably cost like $15 to make, so it's not like they're losing much. Alright, what do we got next? Steven, or Stefan, I don't know and I don't care, says, I've never been one for mods in general regardless, as I cannot understand when I see some portions of PC gamers claim that Game X is better with mods. How? Surely you play these games to play what the developers have created. Yes, most PC gamers play the game in the way it's intended. However, if they want to mod games to put dumb crap in them, like Thomas the Tank Engine in God of War, or put naked people in games because it's fun or because they feel like it, that is their right to do so. Plus, some games, especially older games like Skyrim, need mods to be playable at higher frame rates. Plus, there's many mods that come out for modern single-player games, which are horribly optimized to fix the optimization issues. Plus, there's just tons of quality of life mods. I mean, what was it? There was a mod, I think, for Horizon Forbidden West, which removed like 900 lines of dialogue of Aloy treating you like you were watching an episode of Dora the Explorer. So yes, most people will play games the way that they are intended to be played by the devs. But if they don't want to, who gives a shit? Plus, mods can add tons of replayability to games. I've put almost 600 hours into Elden Ring and I've never modded it. But if I start to run out of things to do, I can install some crazy mods and like add new bosses or new spells or mechanics or something like that to keep it fresh. I mean, mods are one of the main ways that Elden Ring challenge runs are still staying alive to this day. Like, imagine if a company that sold hairbrushes decided to stop selling them because they were afraid people were gonna groom their pubes with it.
What the fuck is happening?
Logic, my friend. Logic. Like, if I buy a product, I'm probably going to use it in the way that it was intended. But once I own it, I don't have to. I can do what I want with it. Not that I use hairbrushes in that way. Or do I? Anyway, oh god, Japan hates Xbox. Damn, these guys are doing everything right. I'm really hoping for them to knock it out of the park this time. Not only do they hate Xbox, but they hate PC as well. I love that he says knock it out of the park this time because even he knows that Quantum Error was trash, even though he was capping for it like no tomorrow just because it was only on PS5. Trust me, dude, if Quantum Error is anything to go off of, they definitely will not be knocking it out of the park. I think the 5 people who end up playing this game will want to knock themselves out by the time they're done with it. But who knows, maybe this game is going to be a masterpiece and I'm judging too soon. We shall see. I mean, after all, it's only available on the PS5. That means it must be good, right? Anyway, who do we have next? Oh god, this guy's name is literally Pony Elite. This should be interesting. I have become such huge fans of these guys today. If I were a dev, I would make the same decision. You've seen games bastardize on PC with mods. I applaud the decision to respect the actors and the creative vision. More devs need to follow their footsteps. Ah yes, more devs should follow in their footsteps, aka cut them off from the biggest market in the gaming industry, because there's the potential that somebody might make some sexual mods of the game, and some people might download them, and that would just destroy the whole game's reputation. The funniest thing is, the mods that these guys are talking about, the most attention they ever get is when they're in like memes, and it's just a screenshot that's like, oh, Elden Ring mod, but it removes all the shoes from NPCs or something like that. I genuinely cannot think of a time that mods have ruined a game. In fact, with games like Lethal Company, they've only made the game 100 times better. Also, you say they respect the actors and creative vision. If anything, this is doing the actors a disservice, because now they're going to be permanently attached to this game that got involved in some massive controversy for literally no reason other than the devs wanted Twitter attention. Also, it is wild to me that people become fans of companies because they take a stance on something as dumb as this. Like, I became a big fan of Larian Studios not just because Baldur's Gate was good, but also because their philosophies about like DLC and microtransactions and releasing a finished product and all that are great. But I'm not a fan of them because they refuse to release the game on a platform. How terminally online do you have to be for that to be a plus for you? The answer is yes. All right, who do we have next? Oh god, it's the bald man. And no, I'm not talking about Alex. Xvault says, much respect. Most character design mods, especially the nude mods on PC with most games, are super childish, and it does tarnish all that Team Kill Media states below. Much respect. How does a random nude mod tarnish anything? Especially the voice actress. This is like saying that Apple should stop releasing phones in Mexico because the cartel record beheading videos on them and that tarnishes Apple's look. Like, no. And you can tell this was definitely an intentional stunt to get social media attention, because Team Kill are retweeting this crap. It's unreal. I say like 99% of the time, usually any bad decisions or anything like that are on the publishers and not the devs. But in cases like this, these devs just actually suck. Speaking of devs that suck, I'm very interested to see how Avowed turns out. Something tells me even if it is good, it's not going to do well because the devs have ruined the reputation of the game. Because, you know, being openly racist on Twitter is not exactly the best way to garner an audience. Well, I guess you would garner an audience, but just not the audience that would want to buy your games. Alrighty, let's see. Who else is on the chopping block? Critical Toaster says, this is a strong and thoughtful stance, and I fully agree. Respecting the artistic vision and the voice actors involved shows real care for the project. It's refreshing to see such integrity prioritized over profit. What? Integrity. Like I said before, the reason they're probably not releasing the game on PC isn't because they're afraid of the artistic vision being ruined by random mods, but probably because their games sell like nothing on PC and they just didn't have the balls to come out and admit it themselves. So they came up with this as a publicity stunt. This is the opposite of integrity. And again, Team Kill reposted it. How does this company still exist? Like, genuinely. I mean, I get asset flips are cheap, but you would think they would just give up after a while. I guess I underestimate their will to piss off as many people as possible. And finally, to end off this video, we're gonna take a look at one of the most toxic, horrible human beings to ever enter the gaming space. That generic Eric. The guy who is such a loser, he couldn't even win in a competition about being bad. Of course, I'm referring to the Salt Awards. But yeah, if you don't know anything about Eric, basically, he hates PC dudes as if they, like, murdered his whole family. Like, it is crazy how spiteful this dude is to people who play on a particular platform. But yeah, he said, this is why PCMR cucks don't deserve to have nice things. I stand by this dev. Digital vandalism is unacceptable. I'm going to get the game day one. Pray to God there's a collector's edition too. Imagine being such a petty, worthless heartless human being that you buy the most expensive version of a game simply because it is not coming to another platform? What did PC gamers do to this man? I need to know. He's probably still salty that striking Josh's channel didn't work out for him. Also, something I've noticed about Eric, he uses the insult cuck all the time. The more somebody uses an insult, the more I'm inclined to think they're speaking from experience. But unlike Eric, I'm not gonna make anything personal. What I will say though is calling modding digital vandalism might be the dumbest thing I've heard this year, which isn't saying a lot because this year's only been going on for 3 weeks, but it's still something. I would argue that cheating in online games is more like digital vandalism, but what do I know? I guess playing a single player game the way you want to play it is vandalism, because God forbid somebody does what they want to do with their own copy of the game, as long as they're not ruining other people's experience with it, like cheaters in online games. If anybody out there mods their games or makes mods, just know you are a vandalizer. And not just that, you're a cuck. You honestly disgust me. But yeah, anyway, with all that being said, that's basically all I've got for this video. This was an interesting one, and honestly, I did not expect the Quantum Error devs to make a comeback, but I'm glad they did. It just keeps providing new content for me, and I am a-okay with that. And before I sign off, I quickly want to ask, do any of you guys out there mod, or excuse me, vandalize your games? And if so, how do you do it? Do you add new mechanics? Do you just add quality of life stuff? Or are you an absolute gooner? Let me know. So yeah, with all that out of the way, thank you all so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more, especially since I'm about to hit 13,000. It's gonna be absolutely insane when I do. Thank you all so much. Also, join us every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for Salt streams, and I will catch you all next time.